On this episode of DC on Screen, Henry Cavill is in talks to return as Superman, but in a perpetual cameo scenario where he would be augmenting other superheroes. Kinda like Marvel's Hulk, cause, you know, they don't know how to make people happy with a solo Hulk movie either. HBO Max boss says he wishes the Snyder cut was just $30 million to finish. And what in the hell is Cathy and Grace Randolph on about anyway? Plus, what Lantern Spectrum do we align most with? Should DCCW drastically lower episode counts? And what is the terrifying concept behind Cougar Storm? All this and more after this stirring word from our sponsor with whom we have no affiliation.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
Welcome into DC on Screen episode 597. I am David C. Robertson, and this is the man who is in a new house, Jason Goss.
Kind of.
Yeah. You're recording in a new house.
I'm recording in what will eventually be the new house in the new space. Hopefully it's not too echoey, because it's just a room with nothing on it. I don't have a bunch of shit on the walls yet. I have hijacked a screen that is normally used for shading on decks as a backboard. And hoping that works out as far as sound quality goes. Yeah, we're living in like 3 houses right now. It's insane.
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, I got one house that was out of AC for the better part of a week. I got another house that didn't have gas, which meant no hot water for the better part of a week. And then I got another house that had they were trying to move into, and everyone was like, you couldn't find, you know, a glass if you wanted to. It is insane.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Fun times.
Indeed. Well.
Need more medication.
This is the podcast where we talk about the DC Comics multiverse on film and television, give honest opinions on projects upcoming and past, and believe that every version of a property is valid, even if we do not want it to be. If it's been released, it is fair game, so beware of spoilers, and welcome to the show. Yeah, this is like the second week in a row I've forgotten to do that.
Oh, okay. Time has no meaning for me anymore, so I didn't even realize when you did or didn't do it anymore.
That's okay.
Now, my training is still good. When you started doing it, I was like, okay, Jason, shut the fuck up. Dave has a job to do.
Speaking of which, thank you guys, all you Patreon listeners. Patreon.com/DC on Screen. Just wanted to thank you guys. We don't have a new one this week, but I don't know. It means everything.
Thank yous are still in order.
Over on Apple Podcasts, we have a new review from MK Klein 55. Says, always entertaining. This is my go-to podcast for everything DC related for shows and movies. Keep up the great work, fellas. We'll try.
Yes, thank you,
man. By the way, he's entered, or she. I don't know. I said man. That's presumptuous of me. Klein is entered into this thing. One of the next 10 people who go onto Apple Podcasts and leaves us a review and a rating. Whatever you want, man. I'm gonna throw you $20. 1 out of 10 is gonna get $20. Now I can, give you, $20-ish worth of merch from us. You can have, a $20 thing to, DC thing, or I can just Venmo you $20. I don't care. But that's the contest. You're going to get $20.
Sweet limited content on DC Universe if you want to.
Yeah.
I've seen you eyeball that stuff a few times.
Oh, God. Always.
Yeah, it's tempting.
Yeah, dude, I actually just got I found a Linda Carter Wonder Woman from Mattel, one of the deluxe edition figures, and I was like, she's gonna look great next to my Batman 66 stuff.
This has to happen.
I haven't seen it this cheap. This is gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I've been eyeing her because the John Wesley Shipp Flash they put out is like up to like $150 now. Jesus. I was like, God, I didn't want to pay for it at $35. I really don't want to pay for it now.
Yeah.
Even the Val Kilmer Batman Forever Batman is like freaking $50. I was just like, no,
can't.
the time is now. $20.
I filled out a survey for DC Universe recently, and part of it was like the DC collectibles section. I was like, not applicable. I ain't got money for that shit. Mm-hmm. That is not part of my world right now.
Well, I don't have it either.
I can barely afford my pull list, which is only barely back a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, we need to get over to news because we got kind of not a whole lot. We got a lot of listener feedback, listener questions and stuff. So
Okay.
we're gonna have a long-ish show, I guess, maybe.
We often do.
Yeah.
What did we record for? Like 4.5 hours last time we sat down?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so.
It was a while.
I mean, yes, and
No, I'm not even kidding. I looked at our Skype history when I started to hit you up to start here. It was 5 hours and 4 minutes, that phone call.
yeah, the phone call. The show was like an hour and a half.
Oh, I know, but we must have been recording though for several.
Oh no, I think we were just talking.
Oh,
we were just shooting the shit.
Was that just one of those nights? Okay, well, fine.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it definitely was.
I told you time has no meaning.
It does to some of us.
You and your metrics.
HBO Max has officially, I guess for the first time, really used or DC Extended Universe as a label for these movies. We've been using DC Extended Universe or DCEU all this time.
Well, we have since like the 16 or 17
2016, yeah.
Comic-Con?
Yeah.
Because they had...
but Warner Brothers has never officially used it.
I thought it was semi-official then because they literally used it in their verbiage when they held their thing at Comic-Con that year. And then I guess... I guess I thought it was official for years. Mm-hmm. Hadn't paid attention, but... Okay.
But it was headlines that it was officially used.
Yeah.
I've never seen it officially used that I remember, but hey, I might have forgotten. But here was an interesting thing though. Their little description, their little blurb for the DC Extended Universe on HBO Max. Explore the interconnected DC Comics worlds with your closest friends in Gotham and beyond. So they're saying worlds, plural.
Yeah, I think they're leaning into that finally.
But they're also stressing interconnected. Look, man, I might be like one of these wild conspiracy theorists out here or something, but I don't know, man. I just feel like that's like Jim Lee's divine hand at play. I'm like, dude's got a plan.
I don't know who.
Maybe.
I don't know who to attribute that to, and I certainly don't know who to blame for not being happening sooner. Mm-hmm. Although historically, I would blame Diane Nelson, but
yeah, I don't think it was her.
No, I don't think so.
Not for real. For real? No, not for real.
Not for real. Just kind of for real. But it is nice. Like they're gonna lean into the whole multiverse thing, and if, like I said, I don't remember when we talked about it last, but when Ezra Miller showed up on the CW, that was a groundbreaking moment. That was just nothing was going to be the same after that. It felt like, and thank God it's all coming true.
Yep. I was like one of those.
Really hoping that wasn't going to be a flash in a pan kind of thing. Yes, I said that. If it helps, I didn't realize until I was getting to the word pan what I was doing.
Yeah, when I saw Ezra Miller on The Flash, that was like one of those like, oh shit, the Klingons do have ridges on their dick moments.
I'm pretty sure residents in my neighborhood 3 doors down heard the word Flash or Ezra. I can't remember what I yelled. There was a lot of yelling though. Like I was really glad I was alone that night when I was watching it because I would have ruined the rest of the house's night.
Yeah. Nah, they couldn't hear you because they were too busy listening to shitty music or playing it.
Oh no, they were
3 doors down.
Yeah. I want to make a kryptonite reference, and I'm just not gonna.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go that way. I just wanted to point out that you said 3 doors down, and I hate their music. That's all I've
seen them live though.
Good for you, man.
And it was weird. It was one of the weirdest shows I've ever seen. It was like the opening act was Disturbed, and in high school I was like, okay, cool, let's go watch that. It was the opening act Disturbed, Middle was Three Doors Down, which I thought, okay, I got nothing for this, but whatever. I guess that's when I'm going to make a beer run.
They held you while you were there.
Yeah. Well, no, that was when I visited concessions and bought some other stuff.
Okay, good.
But the headliner was Stone Temple Pilots, which is why I was there. Like, for me, it was like, oh, STP's in town. Yes, that's happening. And then Disturbed was like, well, that's not hurting my feelings at all. And then Three Doors Down, okay, I guess I'll be watching them for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't remember another song, just that one. Just the one.
All right, well.
Anyway.
Yeah. According to Deadline, Henry Cavill is in talks to return as Superman. And that was reported May 27th. They say, while there is not a Man of Steel sequel in the works, we're hearing that Henry Cavill is in talks to reprise his Superman role in the Warner Brothers DC universe. We hear Cavill could come back in a couple of different ways, though not in a standalone film. But there are plans to put him back in the big red cape again, sources with knowledge tell us. Warner Brothers is not developing a Man of Steel sequel, and Wonder Woman 1984, the Suicide Squad are in the can. Superman isn't expected to make a cameo in Matt Reeves' The Batman. Other projects where Cavill could make a cameo are Shazam 2, Black Adam, or Aquaman 2. Those are the next productions being prepped. So we've got that. Comicbook.com says they've learned that Cavill will reprise the role. And they're saying also Man of Steel 2 is not in the works. But they're saying that he's going to be more like Nick Fury or Mark Ruffalo's Hulk in the Marvel movies. Just kind of popping in for a supporting role. Or even having smaller cameo roles.
That's
I don't know.
Effectively what he's been doing for a minute now.
Well,
in the sense that the last time we saw him, he did a pop-up at the end of Shazam.
Well, it wasn't Cavill, though.
Yeah, I know, but it was his suit. And now, since he's apparently in talks, I can feel good about saying it was him, even though it wasn't.
Yeah. No, I don't. It wasn't him. Yeah, but
I mean, I know it physically and literally wasn't.
Right.
It was his suit, so I don't know.
So, THR, Hollywood Reporter, says on May 29th, the situation with Henry Cavill and Superman is complicated. Sources tell Heat Vision that Cavill is not in any negotiations for any cameo, and that the character is currently not in any written script, not in Black Adam, not in The Batman, not even in The Flash, which would be the most obvious project to insert the Kryptonian, seeing as the film deals with both time travel and an alternate Earth, and could serve as an entry point. But yeah, as they point out, the keyword in this is currently. All this could change. The important thing is he's in the conversation again, I would say. Yeah.
I don't think he ever left the table, if it helps.
Yeah. No, I don't think he walked away. I think it was like, well, we don't really know what we're going to do.
Yeah. I mean, he's been... his Instagram history is full of references to his love for that character. I think we've said this before. If it doesn't happen, it will not be... I don't think it'll be Henry's fault.
Oh no, I wouldn't blame him. But JD McRae wanted to know what movies we wanted to see Henry Cavill cameo in.
Yes,
if the rumors are right. Yes, just all of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
The answer is yes.
Also, if we get another Superman with him, what should the villain be? I still like Lex Luthor. I still like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. I would like to see some combination of Luthor and Brainiac teaming up, or I want to see some slight version of Toyman. I want to see Toyman for just a minute.
No, Toyman's
not the whole
got
movie.
A lot of potential for sure. I enjoyed Eisenberg. I know a lot of people didn't. It was I'll call it a brave take. If you didn't like it, you'll think that's very kind wording, but still, I enjoyed his version, and I would love to see him. And honestly, I would love to see a Man of Steel 2 where it was him versus an Injustice Society led by Eisenberg. All of that. If I just got to pick one, though, since Man of Steel was kind of so spacey to begin with, I really wouldn't mind a Brainiac. That would, especially after seeing Krypton's Brainiac. Like, I really got a taste for it a little bit after seeing that. That was a really good one. Well, speaking of, I wouldn't mind Lobo either. Kind of a Last Sons thing.
But I was thinking about it the other day. When you look at BVS and you look how Lex sort of became so integrated with the Kryptonian ship, and then started having, as Zach put it, communion with Steppenwolf. I think it would be great if they pushed the route of the animated series universe and had Brainiac be the computer system from Krypton.
Okay, I can dig that.
and had like maybe we have like a piece of Brainiac just sort of slowly growing within Lex's brain, like some connection with the Kryptonian ship. He got the Brainiac parasite or something, just sort of like a germ of parasite, not parasite, Brainiac in him.
Yeah.
And we could see that really cool amalgamation of Lex and Brainiac that we get in some of the comics.
Yeah. Another option is if something like New Gods does finally, get into production seriously, then yeah, Superman versus the New Gods in any capacity. Hell yeah, pick one. I don't care. Pick Granny Goodness. Fucking beat her up for a while. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Any one of them.
I'll take it all. I'll take whatever.
I'll take it all. I mean, effectively, it comes down to I'll take a Man of Steel 2 no matter how you do this.
Yeah, I'll take whatever.
It could be him versus a toothpick.
Mm-hmm. I do like the idea of having him cameo in different heroes movies to really push the, I don't want to say agenda, but that's what it is. That Henry Cavill Superman is like an inspirational figure to all of these different people, so that we can really kind of, whet the appetite for a solo Superman movie coming.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt my feelings a bit. I mean, I really don't mind that take at all. And in the same way they can use Flash to actually tie things together, because a speedster is the magic elixir if you're a writer for comics. Mm-hmm. You can make so many things happen because you have one at your disposal. So in the same way, you can use Superman emotionally. I mean, we already know in this particular universe, the S stands for hope. It stands for other things other writers have done, but in this particular one, on his planet, it stands for hope. And fuck yeah, I'd love to see him just come in with some inspirational speeches every once in a while. Hell yeah, I'll take that. Like, we got a Supergirl that may be coming at some point. I don't know where that stands exactly, but if he wants to show up for that and cheer Kara on and then she kick some ass, hell yeah, man.
Yep. All right, over to Zack Snyder's Justice League. The HBO Max guy, Big Boss, Bob Greenblatt, was on Vox's Recode podcast. And he was talking about the budgetary complexities involving Zack Snyder's version of Justice League. And he says, it isn't as easy as going into the vault and there's a Snyder cut sitting there to put out. It does not exist. Zack is actually building it, and it's complex, including new VFX shots. It's a radical rethinking of that movie, and it's complicated and wildly expensive. I'll just say I wish it was just 30 million and stop there. It's an enormous undertaking and very complex. That's interesting.
Would it surprise you, though, if, like, especially with the way he phrased that, would it surprise you if what we end up seeing isn't, if we went back 4 years and asked him to make this movie, let's say that movie that he would have made would be X. X movie. Would it surprise you if, like, because of what he has still at his disposal, even giving him as much money as he's getting, which is really an adequate amount, it sounds like. I mean, they're giving him resources. This is not going to be a stingy thing. It's still going to be... Would it surprise you if it was still just, like, as close as even Zack Snyder can get to what he wanted to do originally? Or do you think it will literally just be what he wanted to do?
I don't know at this point. Like, I don't... Like, the way this guy's talking, it makes me wonder if this is, some combination of what Zack shot and, like, what Zack wanted to do, because...
I mean, we know he finished Principal, but he didn't get to do the reshoots, and a lot of directors count on being able to go back for reshoots.
But he also, what he was filming was not going to be the Justice League Part 1 that was going to have the Part 2 and then eventually the Part 3.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if Warner Brothers isn't looking at this situation and going, no, they know about the 5-part plan. They're going to want the whole thing. So what do you need?
It will depend, I think, somewhat on the success of the whole thing, for sure.
Yeah. So I'm just curious. I don't know what's going on.
If after all the kerfuffle and all the falderall, if everyone just pirates the damn thing and they get nothing out of it, we may just fail to get the rest of it.
You know what? They'll at least get the no more cries for Zack Snyder's cut.
Yeah.
They're like, you know what? Even if we waste all this money, it'll actually be nice to be able to put out a thing and advertise it without hearing release a Snyder cut.
Yeah.
But I don't know for
and
real.
With my suggestion, I'm definitely not trying to diminish the product in any way. I'm just
no.
I want it. Like, I think it's still minimum. I think it's still going to be like 95+% what he wanted to do.
Yeah, I think the important part is the effort. They're bringing Zack in and they're throwing money at him. So
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
he puts out. And, years have passed, okay? I'm not going to say I'm anywhere near a Zack Snyder level creator, but I know when I've created things, made videos and stuff, it takes me I'll change my mind about what I want to do 10 times a day.
Oh, I get it. I get it completely.
It's been years and years now.
I don't know how many times I've listened back to a song from 3, 5, God help me, 10 years ago or something, and just been like, oh man, I would have done that differently. Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. I wonder what percentage of what he wants to do now is exactly what he wanted to do then.
Yeah.
But in my mind, Zack Snyder has gotten better at what he's done the whole time. I don't think that's going to be. We're not it's not like David Justice at the Oakland A's kind of thing. This is David Justice with the Braves. This is a guy. This is a guy who's still on the upside. He's not going down.
Okay, cool.
I knew I had to sum that up for you, but I don't know why David Justice was the example I thought of. I heard. I was listening to Michael Lewis's Against the Rules earlier, and they mentioned Moneyball. That's why I went to that. That's why.
Okay.
Just putting that all together myself.
But yeah, I am very, very, very interested to see what we get out of Zack Snyder's Justice League. I want to know what it is, and how much of it is the original plan, how much of it is just what I was going to make after we cut it down to just one.
Yeah.
Just please.
You know what would be infuriating though is after all this, after all the fight that people like myself could have no credit for. I was. Other people get the credit for why this is happening. Mm-hmm. But after all that, if at the end of this, some of the executives look at what he's done and say, can you cut 20 minutes? I will. I don't even know how mad I would be on behalf of everyone. Uh-huh. I was mad when we heard that from the original BVS stuff. That's been infuriating for years.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Standing ovation. We just need it 30 minutes shorter.
Yeah, and I wonder.
We always did suspect, though, that had to do with runtimes in theaters, butts in seats. So theoretically, since it's going to streaming, that won't be an issue.
Right, and especially with Zach saying let's do maybe a streaming series. Let's do a show, and if you made it into a show, you get more justification for being Zack Snyder's Justice League season 2.
Yeah. I would. Yeah. Oh God. Do you know how much I'd love to hear the conversation where one of the execs said, "What? I mean, it's great, man. Can you cut it by about 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes?" And just Snyder go, "How'd that work out for you last time?" Mm-hmm. Oh, you released my cut on the DVD because yours didn't do as well as you wanted. Oh, okay. Oh, and then my cut put it over. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure, we'll cut it, and then just ignore him completely. Mm-hmm. He leaves the room, and they immediately fire that guy and send him home.
Yeah. They should, if that happened. Heroic Hollywood is saying that with the entire Justice League cast booked down on projects that have either been delayed or postponed due to the shutdown, scheduling would be an absolute nightmare for the Snyder Cut. However, that being said, and the following is unconfirmed, there is a rumor that Zack Snyder will have to shoot Henry Cavill's face against a green screen, at the very least for special effects purposes, because the current reference material of Cavill from the theatrical cut of Justice League is of him in a mustache.
If I doubted anything, it would not be that.
Special effects insider tells Heroic Hollywood how that would work is that the visual effects house hired for the Snyder Cut will reshoot Cavill's face and map that onto the existing footage. The report continues, if Cavill were to go into the studio, and assuming that he's in the relative same shape, don't worry, he is.
He is. Have you seen The Witcher? Good God.
Or just his recent Instagram.
I'm pretty sure The Witcher increased the gay population just by a couple percentile. Dude looks fantastic. I heard grown men saying man.
Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's The Witcher.
Maybe it's the pale blue contact eyes.
It might be easier to reshoot his whole body and performance and paint out the old footage and replace it with the new and current special effects footage. A lot also depends on the complexity of the shots Snyder wants to use and how many they have to do. Well, yeah, all of that sounds accurate.
Yeah. But it's still what you were talking about before. They've still got to sign him for all of that. He's not on the hook for reshoots for a film that's already out this long. And
this is why I didn't want to give any kind of real credence to last week's report from Humberto Gonzalez, who said that they weren't going to be bringing anybody to. First of all, we've already had the big boss say that he wishes it was just $30 million now. And now this report,
and kind of jokingly, I read that interview, and he kind of said, like, God, I wish it was just 30. Like, it felt very honest when he said it.
Yeah, like, this is gonna be steep.
I kind of bought it. When he said that. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. This is exciting. Trustful Neutron over on Vero asks Zack Snyder, are there any more Knightmare sequences? And Zack says, oh yeah.
That's it. Just oh yeah.
Yay!
I'm down.
So
there's
there's
the
a
canon
new,
as it exists. That's the big gaping hole of like, we need this to be filled in.
Mm-hmm. There is a new interview or a newish interview with Business Insider. HBO Max content chief Kevin Riley talked a little bit about why bringing the Snyder Cut out is going to take so long. He says, or took so long to actually announce it. He says, I forget when Zach and Deborah first gave us the sense of where they were heading, but even from that meeting, me and my team felt it was something we really wanted to do. There were a lot of issues involved to figure out how we could deliver on his vision, and a myriad of legal issues. We've been sitting on this for quite some time, but working on it. It was obviously a secret project given the high level of interest, but we were chipping away at it piece by piece. There was some strategy, but also some serendipity in how we got over the hurdle of some of those issues just before the launch. Then he was pressed for more specifics, and he says, that's a whole separate interview. Let's file that as a follow-up.
Please do that follow-up.
Absolutely, but I did want to include that because it made you more right. All this time you've been beating the drum about legal issues and and how
I said it was
unlikely.
Complicated. I didn't have faith.
Yes, you did. That's right. So it just, I felt like they were backing you up a little bit.
I appreciate that. Something in that interview that was it was elsewhere in that, but I'm sure you read the whole thing too. And something that I really did like, and actually gave me a lot of faith in the interview itself, is somewhere in there he said, like, we're trying to get Harry Potter, we want it, it's a big deal, we gotta get the rights back from, I think, NBC or NBC Universal, and that was 48 hours before HBO Max launched, and then I looked at HBO Max the day it launched, and there was Harry Potter. I was like, he was grinding. Dude was fucking grinding. Mm-hmm.
That was impressive.
He wasn't kidding. I mean, in the interview, he literally said, like, we're trying to make that happen as soon as possible, kind of thing. And then apparently, I don't know if the interview helped or what, but whatever. It's there. All 12 of those movies.
Matthew Salvatore at Pure Genius Lego on Twitter says, what scene are you most excited to see in Zack Snyder's Justice League? Mine would be the Nightmare scenes.
Nightmare scenes.
As always, love the show. Yeah, Nightmare scenes.
For sure.
Nightmare scenes.
Or based on anything that we've seen so far, anything in color.
Yes.
Or
anything with the Martian Manhunter.
Yeah. I'm sure there's more to that football game.
I don't care about the football game.
I kind of do, because it's part of Ray Fisher's story, or the Cyborg story. Like, I really kind of, they hyped the shit out of that. Like, it's big enough that it appears in, like, that is part of the continuity of that universe, is that goddamn game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see more.
I wouldn't mind a little highlight reel of that for Cyborg.
Yeah, I want to see more Cyborg. I want to see everything. I want to see all of it.
Yeah.
But definitely the thing I'm most, I don't know. I say the Nightmare sequences, but man, I want more Green. I want Green Lantern so bad. I want Green Lantern. I want Martian Manhunter. I like Harry Lennox. I like him a lot.
I do. And he's been super cool about his tweets around the subject.
Yeah, he's been great about that. I loved him in Dollhouse. I loved him in freaking between him and James Spader. Like, I actually sometimes mourn that I just couldn't stand to watch Blacklist anymore, because they're both so good.
They were really good, but the plot just took forever to get to.
Mm-hmm. and it's still taking forever. Like,
that was
my wife still watches it.
That was back in the days. Like, oh yeah, I get it.
It's awful.
You remember the time when we had time to watch shows that weren't DC related?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Like, I wasn't married.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the name of my child.
Right.
Those were different days.
Yeah, but for the past 5 years, I consume DC content like most Christians pretend that they read the Bible. So
yes. I would genuinely, generally venture, and I mean this only comedically, but with some, I think we probably know a lot more about this content than most people do about the stuff they actually worship.
Yep.
I mean that as a polite jeer. Don't take it too seriously, but but seriously, there's a lot to consume, and it takes up most of our lives.
I mean, I think at worst those comments that we've made just now are just insightful commentary on the state of belief.
It's possible.
I think I've heard pastors say something to that effect.
Oh, Lennon made a similar comment, and it damn near ruined his career. So maybe we just tanked it. I don't know. Maybe that's.
We didn't say we were better than or greater than Jesus or whatever.
No, he said they were more popular.
More
which
popular
later he claimed was
was
an indictment of the way religion embraced him rather than the way they were being embraced.
Well, yeah, isn't it?
Well, that's what he said. It's hard to know because it was Lennon. He's a bit cagey. He was a clever dude, so you never quite knew exactly where he was coming from. You have to kind of discern it. And then some asshole came around and made sure we couldn't ask him follow-up questions. Mm-hmm. Fucking Chapman piece of shit.
Yeah, he just do like Bob Dylan and just make up more shit. All right. So we just went on about the Beatles and Bob Dylan for about 10 minutes.
Sorry.
Sorry. That'll be on Patreon at some point. Over to David Ayer's Suicide Squad. Christian Brown asked him, how much did Snyder affect your interpretation of the characters? At the time, you were essentially playing in his DC sandbox, right? Obviously introducing new characters, but within his universe. How much influence did he have on the Joker, the story itself? Ayer says, we synced up storylines. Squad was the on-ramp for Justice League, which was a much more ambitious two-part movie arc with impressive scope. Squad was the appetizer for Zack's epic. Best laid plans, as they say.
Yeah.
So yeah, we knew that. Now someone brought up the I Started a Joke trailer, and he says this trailer nailed the tone and intention of the film I made: methodical, layered, complex, beautiful, and sad. After the BVS reviews shell-shocked the leadership at the time and the success of Deadpool, my soulful drama was beaten into a comedy. Yeah,
that trailer blew me away the first time I saw it. Mm-hmm. I completely get it. That thing was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Now,
I'd love to eventually see what he was going for there.
Me too. Someone brought up a couple of different shots from the when Joker has Harley strapped down, and they said this was. They asked like what the differences were, and he says, or they asked him to explain it anyway, and he says this scene was reshot because the tone was too dark. My first act was a normally constructed film. I took my inspiration from Nolan. There were real scenes with incredible acting between Jared and Margot. Joker was terrifying. Harley was complex. And interestingly, though, Cathy Yan of Birds of Prey, the director, said, I'm so sorry this happened to you, David. I know the pain. And that sparked a whole thing.
I didn't want to go into it. It sparked a whole thing.
I don't really want to go into it.
I will say this about it. Sadly, it probably won't change anything.
It probably won't. Now, she told the Hollywood Reporter, though, Cathy Yan did, that she had to fight to keep the scene where Black Mask makes the woman take off her clothes and dance on the table.
Really?
Yeah, she says, I'll be honest, we had to fight to keep that scene because it was uncomfortable. It was risky, and we had to fight to keep it at all. There were cuts of the movie without it. I'm really glad we kept it because I think it's important. I think that a lot of people have been very impacted by that scene. I think it's a huge turning point for Roman, it's a huge turning point for Canary, and the way that we shot it was hopefully not about the sexual violence upon the woman. It was more about Roman, what he's capable of, and Canary seeing him for who he really is for the first time. Now she can finally cut herself off from him, and I thought it was a really important scene, so we fought for it. I agree.
I actually completely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's been our take the whole time on that scene. Like, we brought it up when we did our first take on Birds of Prey, I think. Like, that was a very important scene. And extraordinarily acted. And in a way that, it was a very uncomfortable scene. It was supposed to be.
Yeah. Now, I hope that's all she's talking about, really. But, people like Grace Randolph and others have been kind of going on with Cathy Yan about some old scoops that Grace and others had.
There's been some hubbub.
That the film was reshot to edit out a storyline where there were like Roman Sionis' dick pics, and the size of his dick was a big joke, or a small joke, I guess. And Kathy's really been going back and forth, trading barbs with old Graceless Randolph, and I won't get into all of it here. This was of interest to me though. Cathy Ann said there has never been any discussion about the size of Roman's dick. I can't believe I even have to write that. The original
I don't
script.
know how I'm having this conversation right now.
The original script called for an image of Roman as Michelangelo's David. You know, art.
Yeah.
If that's a dick pic, then the Louvre is full of them. It was a joke to show how narcissist he is. It didn't work. We all agreed. So we rewrote some ADR. That's it. Absolutely no reshoots were devoted to this nonsense issue. So there you go. There's that. And I do want to say a lot of Snyder Cut people are defending Grace because she was pro Snyder Cut, but then she also, in her Man of Steel review said she wanted Zack Snyder gone. So she's gone back and forth. She's fine. Like, it's fine to change your mind. Me and you have changed our minds on several occasions. We're not faulting Grace Randolph for that.
No.
Continuously harassing and arguing with a director. Yeah, I'm going to fault you for that, buddy. Leave her alone. Just leave her alone. I'm sorry you think your scoop was correct. I don't care.
Yeah.
Now if Cathy Ann actually did have these problems or have problems like Suicide Squad did, I'm curious. Like, I read I think I just sent you like a sigh and just said release the Yan cut. But
I got that.
Yeah.
Sometime and laughed. Somewhere in the midst of my chaos, I got a chuckle out of it.
So I don't know. I don't want to. I'm not going to
sure
get into
to what
reading.
extent she went through exactly the rewrites that Snyder and Ayer did. I'm not. I will say this: historically, we shouldn't know for another about 2.5, 3 years.
Right when the.
Because Ayer and Snyder,
when the NDRs wear off,
yeah, like they towed the line. Ayer got in trouble for some people for having towed the line when he did, and it's one of the many things that I regret in the light of the new information. Is as best as we could, we kind of tried to buy it, I guess.
Yeah.
But
but now we know better.
now we know better. But
We can't trust a director when they're under a certain time period.
Yeah, I mean, I think we throw out some disclaimers about NDAs here and there, but
Well, this has been the last 5 years has been a learning experience for us.
yeah. Well, mostly what we've learned, and
Trust no one.
yeah, well, no, don't trust the WB executives. And
within a certain amount of time from the release of the movie, the directors are executives.
Yeah.
So just or as good as. So just shut up.
or as accountable as, and then the first to go to the fire if something goes wrong. So we kind of won't know. I will give her this though. It's not like there are points in the movie where I thought, oh, well, that's a cut. Oh, well, they made a choice here for her or something like that. It honestly, the movie feels pretty coherent to me. But they changed her title after a week. Like, they changed the title of her fucking movie. When the hell does that happen?
I think they just changed it on the marquee, though, and in the advertising. Like, I'm pretty sure that when you go to see the movie,
when you went to
it doesn't.
websites to look for a ticket to that movie, the title of that movie had changed.
But I'm pretty sure when you're watching the movie and they show you the title card at the end, it doesn't say Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. I'm pretty sure.
No, I don't think they changed
Birds
the
of
actual
Prey.
film. They changed the marketing around it and and all that. But
Yeah,
like
they
they didn't literally recut and send another digital copy of the movie to reflect the title change. But they didn't have to. But they did. She titled that movie a certain way. Her and I believe Margot Robbie sat down and made sure. I think that was what they wanted. That was the title of that movie. And they just after a week they just took it. They just took it and said no, we're not doing that. I don't think either of them were okay with that decision.
They were in drastic salvage mode, but I mean,
no.
The movie is back to Birds of Prey as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and after all this, it is. After a crazy few months where they had normal box office numbers for a minute, and then things got weird. Like the number. If you ask me what the Birds of Prey final box office was, I would probably tell you this is the number minus, I don't know, 5 to 10% of what it would be if it had been able to stay in theaters, because theaters just closed down. I'm not saying it's going to change the entire story of it. I'm just saying it took a little bit off the end.
Yep. All right, so over from David Ayer's Suicide Squad to James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. In case you were wondering how he would feel if David Ayer released his cut, James Gunn said he'd be okay with it, whatever, or be okay with whatever David Ayer and Warner Brothers wanted to release, with no problem. So, yay!
Yeah.
No one's stepping on James Gunn's toes.
No, and it's weird though. There's so many divisions now, but they're like I never thought when we started this even. Did you ever think you'd live in a world where there were 2 Suicide Squad movies with 2 notable directors?
Well, yeah.
And there would be fans getting camped about which version they wanted to be real?
Mm-hmm. This all sounds like a Warner Brothers cluster. Absolutely. I hadn't like thought it through completely, but you know what the thing was is like,
now that I say it, yeah.
Even at the time that we had started the show, there were already like, wars and rumors of wars.
Yeah.
Already, things about how Marvel Studios did things and about how certain directors were like, we didn't get what we wanted. Edgar Wright being one of them. I think Patty Jenkins had left Dark World. I
like Ant-Man, but I would love to have seen Edgar's version of that.
I would have been interested to see it, but at this, I think at the time, and I still do kind of feel this way. It's just because Warner Brothers is a studio that touts themselves as the director's studio or whatever horseshit that might be true now, but it wasn't then.
The Hamada era feels different, but
it does.
The Sugihara era, no, they didn't give a shit.
But to me, I kind of feel like, if you have a big interconnected universe, and we know that's what they were going for. They wanted the Avengers, they wanted Marvel. And, in certain ways I do too.
That money.
Yeah. Yeah. And in certain ways I did too. I would love to, at the time I was definitely like, I want to see Justice League. I want to see DC do their own take of what Marvel has done.
Yeah, absolutely. And ironically, part of that was because we had seen the Avengers movie, which Whedon did fantastically. And then later Whedon's name got involved in a way that I just...
It was unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry
His
that he
story
cheated.
arc in this whole thing is just a tragedy.
Yes, I'm sorry that he cheated on his wife and everybody hates him now. I'm sorry that
I'm sure he's probably the sorriest if it helps. It's probably not working out for him either.
I mean, actually that part of his life is probably working out pretty well. It seems like based on the social media. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm I don't know. I don't follow the man that extensively.
I don't either. I'm just assuming like if I did, my life would go to hell in a handbasket very quickly.
Yeah, well, I think his did for a while, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's actually ever publicly said that he did it. But anyway, a lot of people hate him because of his personal life. A lot of people hate him because of Justice League. I don't Joss Whedon didn't come in and say, "Hey guys, I'm going to take this from Zack Snyder." That didn't happen.
Honestly, the fact is, I think he got played too.
Yeah, I feel like he did. And he actively liked dismissive and angry tweets about the movie.
Yeah.
So I think he had issues with it. I think if it had been written by him and fully directed by him, it still wouldn't have been what a lot of the Snyder Cut people wanted, but it would have been a lot better.
Yeah. I don't think you could put that any better. I don't think, like, some of the stuff that was just definitely Joss, like the something's definitely bleeding moment kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Some of that is just how, I don't know, that's how he does things. That's his feel. That's how movies go with him at the helm. And there's a version of Justice League that's probably great if he got to do it from scratch. But I don't know. I think if you gave him and Snyder the ability to sit in a room and decide the fate of that movie, they would probably just scrap it and burn every copy. Both of them. They would decide unanimously to just burn it to the ground. I should include Deborah there. Yeah. So if Joss and both Snyders got to sit there with a quorum, it would be burned to the ground.
And I'm sure Joss wants to see Zack Snyder's version of the movie too.
I think he would too. And crazily enough, they're both of those people are or all of those people in this case, are so talented that there are parts of that movie that are still really fucking good.
Yeah, I agree. It just doesn't fit tonally.
No. It's fractured.
All right, we're gonna move. John Murphy is scoring the Suicide Squad. By the way, he did 28 Days Later. He did Sunshine, a bunch of other films. James Gunn announced that on Twitter, and he says we're creating something truly special with the score. As a side benefit, he's got a hilarious Beatle accent that keeps me amused.
Little Scouser.
I don't know.
Slang for Liverpudlian.
See, over to Wonder Woman 1984, Patty Jenkins says, we made Wonder Woman 1984 for the big screen and believe in the power of cinema. In these terrible times when theater owners are struggling as so many are, we are excited to redate our film to August 14th, 2020.
Yeah, I really hope so.
Yeah, well, that's what she's saying. So maybe we'll see that.
Last time I walked into the theater was Birds of Prey, and I would not mind walking in for WWE84 afterward.
You know, I've said it before. I hate it for the theater owners, but I wouldn't mind just renting that bitch for $20, just sitting down and watching it at my house.
Yeah, that too. I mean,
I'd be happy to never walk into a theater again. I hate the theater.
There are parts of the experience that I really do enjoy, and if the whole thing burned to the ground, I wouldn't complain either.
Well, it was bad enough. It was bad enough just dealing with idiots and assholes, you know.
Sure.
But then the first time I went to go see Guardians of the Galaxy, I had a massive panic attack. And now ever since, like, just going to a theater is like a huge trigger point for me. Like, I just feel like I'm gonna, like, I almost have a panic attack on the way to every theater, thinking I'm going to have a panic attack in the movie. Like,
yeah, panic attacks work that way though. Like, there's, once something's happened in a context, it's easier for it to happen again. It's rough that way. So, and oh God, believe me, I understand. Also, I've seen you just have some shitty experiences in theaters. Like,
yeah,
the first time we saw The Avengers, for instance, was an absolute disaster. We couldn't hear half the movie. That particular theater has really upped its game. It's a lot better, or it was last time I went there. But and then there was that guy. Like, when we were trying to watch Batman vs. Superman in theater, that time, there was a guy, ironically enough, or coincidentally enough, I should say, instead, unwrapping Jolly Ranchers 2 feet from our head the entire fucking time.
I'd forgotten about that.
I still want to find that person and just slap them into another dimension. That was insanity.
When I saw Man of Steel, there was a guy who wouldn't take his kid out of the theater, and the kid was just like screaming bloody murder. He was an infant, man. Get your baby out of the theater.
This person should not be here. I'm sorry.
Like, no, standing at the bottom of the theater and shaking it is not going to help. Like, don't rock it. Let's get the hell out. Get the hell out. I'm trying to hear what Joel is saying to Cavill.
I get it.
I mean, yeah, I've had several bad.
I do get the instinct that, like, I'll bet you that person was a Superman fan, and this was going to be a movie he was looking forward to, and he wanted, like, his kid to see that movie. Mm-hmm. I'll bet you there was something, like, really adorable behind it, or could just be an asshole on the weekend who was like, oh, I kind of want to see that, and took his movie. Took his kid. I don't know.
No, I paid the money. I'm going to stand here and watch it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's who we were dealing with. I'm pretty sure that's who we were. A real Superman fan would be courteous enough.
I mean, I get that. But I still have, like, I have framed copies of, like, Superman 4. Terrible movie. But it was, like, I was old enough to take to a theater, and my dad was just, like, so proud that I stayed still for 2 hours.
Right. The operative phrase there is old enough to take to a movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I didn't ask him. I would not be surprised if I went in my actual Superman outfit that I did not take off for a year. I mean, I wore that thing down to, like, the nylon had split and torn, and my mom re-sewed it a few times. Mm-hmm. I got kicked out of preschool because I would not take it off.
Right.
Well, I got kicked out. I just walked out of there. Because, like, I went to preschool at a church that was literally, like, in my front yard. Like, my front yard ended. There was a street that was 12 foot, and then there was a church. It was a giant church. And then there was a big enough church they had preschool programs. So I went there because it was super convenient. And I just kept walking home in my Superman outfit. It's like, no, I'm good. I think after a while they were like, I don't know if he should come back. And my mom was like, yeah, I think I feel you on that.
All right, so I don't know this account or this website, DCEU Mythic, but it's spearheaded by Jeremy Conrad, and so was the article that was talking about this. So he's got some clout. I know the name. I just can't place whether or not I trust him or not. You know how you you see these names, and you're just like, I can't remember if you're one of the good ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, he says
heard the name of the website either, so maybe I don't know.
But he said he was
We
talking
could
to
probably go
multiple
real
sources.
deep and do like the IP search, but fuck that.
Yeah. He's got multiple sources telling him that Warner has begun very early talks and discussions about what the next big Harley Quinn project is going to be with Margot Robbie. We don't know what that's going to be. Of course, everybody wants Gotham City Sirens. Like, no more Birds of Prey. Let's do Gotham City Sirens. Like, if you got I'd love to see Birds of Prey in it.
Yeah,
But if you're going to do Harley, do Harley.
That was the argument when they were talking about Birds of Prey. Was why don't we do Gotham City Sirens? It was back and forth on that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I hope it's Gotham City Sirens.
I mean, in all fairness, at the end of that movie, she drives away, and if she just never came back, it would just be her and Cassandra. Mm-hmm. That would just be the next movie, her and Cassandra. There's no reason to revisit them necessarily.
Now, see, I think the perfect thing to do would be to have. I think they should split up the DCEU a little bit. Have some on HBO Max, have some in the theater, like the big ticket items in the theater, but keep it connected. Mm-hmm. And I think they should have the next Birds of Prey be on HBO Max, the next Harley Quinn, Gotham City Sirens, be in the theater. And we'll find out in the interim, Cassandra decided to leave Harley because she can't trust Harley. We found that out in Birds of Prey. We know that.
Sure. Yeah.
She went back with the birds, and then you have Harley running around with Poison Ivy. And possibly Catwoman.
I mean, I don't necessarily care about Sirens as much as I care about a Harley Ivy situation.
See, I want to see Gotham City Sirens, but I really want to see Gotham City Sirens versus the Joker.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
And anytime you mention Suicide Squad, it's almost like the elephant in the room while we're talking about it is, Leto or Leto? Sorry, it's been a while.
Leto.
Leto? Okay. Leto's Joker is very divisive.
Mm-hmm. I don't give a shit. I want to see him again.
Well, see, once upon a time you said if I never see him again, that'll be okay.
It still will be okay.
I know. I think we're in a new... I think everybody's in a new mindset, though, now. Like, I think there are more people more open to Eisenberg's Luthor than there were before. I think there are more openness to Leto's Joker than there was before. Just because if the directors had gotten their way and we'd seen the way they wanted to do it, I think you said this at some point early on that you felt Joker was cut out in a way that you wanted to see him more, but what you got, tell me if I'm wrong. I remember you saying, like, for what I saw, I could give or take it. I want to see more of what he wanted to do. Because you could tell, I mean, there were scenes in the trailers that weren't there in the movie. It was clear it was cut.
Yeah, it's like they took everything I liked out of the trailers, everything I liked of him out of the trailers.
Yeah, and then when you and I saw the extra like 13 minutes in the that they added, like Ultimate Edition style, I think you liked him a little bit more. Like there was more substance to it.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I've also been, part of what I've been talking about is, our growth over the last 5 years. Like by the time the extended cut came out, and I think this is important for Eisenberg and with the general audience as well. And not only that, just the fans. With time comes, acceptance. I think a lot of times, like where you have more time to sit with it, and you go, well, okay, yeah.
Honestly, in the context of this show, my favorite version of that is your take on Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. You were not sold at all by that movie, and then over time, I think you've really grown to appreciate it.
Well, I think I liked the bill of goods they were trying to sell me all along, and there were moments that I really loved, but then I couldn't get around certain things in my head. But my primary issue with that movie was and still is David Goyer. I don't like David Goyer. I just don't.
I get it.
I don't like his dialogue. I don't like his pacing, and I don't like his attitude. I don't like his, when you have the guy who says, Batman v Superman is where they go when they run out of ideas. No, that was the beginning of the idea. That was, and I'm not saying he can't grow too. I'm just saying,
industry.
This is a guy who stood up in front of a Comic-Con crowd and told them, I want to put Martian Manhunter in, as created in a lab in a petri dish. because the character's always been stupid to me. Like, why are you so ashamed of being a comic book guy? Like, just see. So my issue is a lot of the times with David Goyer, not Chris Terrio.
Yeah, looking back, Chris Terrio gave us a lot.
And
I would love to see his actual script for Batman as it was going to be. I would love to see that.
I feel like there's a reason that Affleck looked at the BVS script that Goyer wrote and went, "I'm bringing in Chris."
Yeah, and then would sit there in costume on the side rewriting scenes.
And based on his comments, I feel like Goyer was sitting there like writing BVS, going, "Okay, let me hammer out this dribble."
If you're gonna have fantasy involved, this is a guy who in his DNA there is 0% whimsy. Just not there. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand
He's the comic book apologist. He's the guy who's like, okay, so I like comic books because of this, but you're gonna get some stuff in there like Superman or Martian Manhunter. Blah.
Yeah. Like the guy who I don't know. And I'm this guy sometimes, but it depends on the context. If I'm talking to certain people, I may present it a different way. But like, if I'm talking to somebody who understands nothing about comics, I'll go on a whole rant about how like this is the modern like mythology. Like this is our version of the Greek gods. Like, and by the way, they borrow from them heavily and sometimes just use them.
Right.
This is an entire section of fiction that, by the way, is as old as most of the fiction that is as important as anything you're watching right now, and is, by the way, sometimes derivative of that thing. Now, I'll have that to say in certain contexts, and other times I'll just say, like, man, Superman's cool. Because that's what matters. Because I believe both things. Like, yeah, Batman's a badass, Superman's cool, fucking Wonder Woman's I love all these things just on a geek level, and I don't apologize for that, but otherwise, I have speeches prepared for people I run into, I guess.
Yeah. Now, look, all this to say, if you dig the Nolan movies that Goyer wrote, that's awesome. I'm glad for you. I have my own issues with them. I love the second one. I love the Dark Knight, and Batman Begins is pretty good.
Top tier. Dark Knight. The actual Dark Knight is top 10 all-time presentation of a CBM.
And Goyer
works for
certain things. Goyer works for certain things. But when you're talking about a shared universe with big epic DC heroes that he obviously doesn't have much of an interest in, no thanks.
Yeah, it kind of worked for Batman Begins because Batman is a grounded character and does need to start somewhere. But then he tries to take that groundedness into like a full city lockdown, no man's land situation, and I couldn't follow him.
I liked his work okay. On Blade. The Blade movies weren't horrible. The third one was pretty bad.
At the very least, I appreciated them introducing like Hot Ryan Reynolds as they rebranded him as. By the way, this guy's also swole now, and could probably play some other stuff. And here we have Deadpool now.
Oh, remember there was NBC's Constantine. Goyer had his name on that for whatever reason.
That was one of the exceptions where I really enjoyed everything I saw on that show.
Yeah, I don't think that was him though.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe he just sold it and got it into Daniel Cerrone?
Something like that, yeah.
I'm very close. I know that.
Yeah, that was this close. That was the name I was thinking.
But it's been unfortunately too long since he had his hand on Constantine, so I don't know.
Anyway, let's move on to the Batman. Now, The Guardian is reporting that the Batman could potentially start back in July. The UK government and health bodies signed off on all the new coronavirus safety rules, and the approval of the new guidelines paves the way for UK's film and high-end television production industry, which includes series that cost over £1 million per episode to get cameras rolling again, potentially as soon as July. So the Culture Secretary, Oliver Dowden, said, "We've worked hard to support the industry through these difficult times, and I'm delighted we've been able to agree this step forward towards getting the cameras rolling safely again." So every report seems to suggest that Warner Brothers is looking forward to getting it going sooner rather than later. Yeah. So it'll be...
We also need this to transfer to Vancouver so the CW can get rebooted.
Yeah. Now it says...
maybe it's a good template.
So this one industry source said many productions have to get up and running again in the next 2 months or they won't get made this year as they rely on summer weather and conditions. So that's something to consider too. So I'm pretty sure Batman is about to start back.
Yeah. Everything I saw, it looks like they're actually going to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. They've got precautions worked out and guidelines worked out, and they're going to be able to finish up.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about some TV news and listener questions.
Are you struggling to conceive? You have options, and at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group, we'll make sure you have the guidance and support you need. PREG is known for individualized fertility care that's unique to every patient. We take the time to provide a reassuring and empowering experience because we believe that you deserve nothing less. Let us help you on your journey to parenthood. Visit us at pregonline.com to learn more. Get the guidance and support you need at Piedmont Reproductive Endocrinology Group.
All right, we're back, and we're going to get a little bit into some TV news here. HBO Max, our buddy Kevin Riley, he wants to talk about what fans can experience or can expect to experience from the HBO Max DC originals. Mm-hmm. And he says Greg, he's talking about Berlanti, has done a lot of really quality DC fare for the CW. These will not be that. These will be the next step up in production value. You can expect the highest level of cinematic production values on those shows, and that's the same for the projects we've announced with J.J. Abrams. I like how he's just like, man, Greg's done a really great job. We're not doing that shit.
No, like in a way, I do kind of love it because he's like, look, for what he had to work with, he did great. Uh-huh. Not taken away from it. We're putting more in. Yeah.
And he does go on, he does say that, this is for a Business Insider interview, by the way, and he says that J.J. Abrams was the one who pitched Justice League Dark. He says he's always loved it. He always felt that there was a lot of opportunity there and an explored territory and kind of a pond that he could play in exclusively.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
There you
also,
go.
I love the word exclusively because you might get like a dark series out of this whole thing. Mm-hmm. Because they've opened the doors and now who knows?
He does want to talk about a little bit the Doom Patrol. He says it's the only DC Universe series moving to HBO Max, or going
currently.
to be playing
concurrently.
Concurrently, yeah. He says that is evolving, but there were high-end series the DC Universe produced that felt like budgetarily we could handle from a business model better and bring along and service that swath of fans. Doom Patrol was a show we identified that had deep love for it and tucked right into our portfolio.
Yeah, it sounded like they had a spot for it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not surprised also, going back to the fucking Crisis event, I'm not surprised that Doom Patrol was included in that specifically, looking back now. Mm-hmm. And I'm also not surprised because I've genuinely loved the DCU's content. Like, the DC Universe has just done a great job. I'm going to watch Stargirl as soon as we stop recording this, and I'm looking forward to that episode heavily.
Yeah. Have you watched the third episode yet?
No, I'm only two in, and
that shit is the bomb.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's so good. It's so good.
I'm really enjoying it. But I've enjoyed almost everything they've done, short of Swamp Thing, and we've talked about Swamp Thing, and it just it got wrecked in production somehow, and just didn't come out. Like I think if what they were trying to do had the full breadth, it would have been a better thing. Or if honestly somebody just came along and wanted to do 10 episodes of a shorter thing, it would have been better. But whatever. You can't win every battle. Point being, if somebody came along and said, "Okay, this is great, but the standout is Doom Patrol," I have to agree. That first season of Doom Patrol is one of the most amazing. It's one of the best seasons of anything I've ever watched.
Yeah, every episode I'm sitting there with a big grin on my face.
Yeah, I mean, I would really have to struggle to find a first season or a single season of anything that I've enjoyed more than those series of episodes.
I typically have 3 shows that are currently running that I do that with, where I just sit there and I've got a big stupid grin on my face that I can't control,
What you
From
got?
Year to year, from start to finish. Doom Patrol, Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Oh,
and
that's
Rick and
just
Morty.
comforting as hell. And Rick and Morty is just amazing. But even Rick and Morty, every once in a while there will be an episode where you're like, oh, I don't know what they were going for there. And I experienced this with Futurama years ago. It was the same thing. Like Futurama puts a grin on my face that few things do. And every now and then there'd be like an episode like Kif Gets Knocked Up a Notch or something like that, where the weird part is like after several viewings, I'm like, okay, I get it. Or the Christmas episodes, which of all things were written by David X. Cohen, who we know is a phenomenal producer, but the Christmas episodes, the early ones at least, fell short for me. Like there'd be just moments where I dropped, but with Doom Patrol, there was never a drop like that. Every single episode, I was just sad it was done.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's been that way with a lot of the DC Universe content, but I get that that's the standout, and it's super weird in a very fun way. And I get that they want to use that. It's so good.
Absolutely is. And it starts back June 25th, man. We don't have that long to wait.
Oh, I know. I'm looking forward to it.
So Supergirl season 5 is now on Netflix. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to spoil our review of it, our forthcoming review too much, but you said it to me earlier, and I think I agree with you. I think it's maybe the best season they've done.
Yeah. Briefer for my review is it's the best season of Supergirl I've ever watched, even with the truncated ending.
Maybe even especially with.
Yeah.
Because generally for like the big ender, they always want to get like super preachy and like have her give a speech or something. I mean,
well, they still kind of did, but they even had to truncate the speech. We'll get into that, but bottom line, it was the best season I've seen of them so far, and I've still got I've got to finish Batwoman and Legends, but so far it's my favorite season this year of the CW.
Yeah.
Like I was more excited to watch the next episode of Supergirl than I have been anything so far. It was actually good enough that at times I would throw it on in the background while I was like watching my daughter stack shit, and she would stop and watch it with me.
Yeah. I mean, John Cryer is just that mesmerizing as legs.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's fantastic. I remember, like, we were hesitant about him because it was legacy casting. And I just, I know John Cryer from 2.5 Men, which is a Chuck Lorre product that I have no respect for whatsoever. And then watching him now, I'm just, oh, God, he had way more to offer than I ever expected. I was very wrong.
Yeah. Good Lord. Anyway, and somewhat, good news, bad news, I don't know. Because the more they give it, the more I worry. But Lucifer is back. Tom Ellis is officially returning for season 6 on Netflix.
They closed the deal.
So,
whatever the deal was, they closed it.
Whatever it was, is happening. Huge
can only
proponent
hope
of
that-
season 4.
Yeah, it improved deeply. Only
But the
thing
more
I
they
hope
give
is
it,
that
the more I just so worry so much.
Yeah, I don't want them to give them more time. That limiting their time was the best thing they've done for that show. Like far and away, I enjoyed it way more. I just hope they didn't like give Tom Ellis so much money that they have to take away from the effects of making it a show that should be leaning into being a supernatural. It should be about gods and monsters now. Like that, let's do that.
Either that or like actually tie up the show like they were planning on in season 5. And then season 6 is just like a weird 70s, like the Lucifer Amenadiel variety hour.
Well, you know what? I'm worried about something I maybe shouldn't be worried about. Like I was worried that they're all right. I don't want them to tie up so much money in getting the actors back that they can't do the special effects. But you could take away all of the special effects and just have Tom Ellis's eyes burn red every once in a while and him do the things and just take away all the rest of the CGI, and I would still buy it. We've seen the CGI. We know what he looks like.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to look like that the entire time.
That's right.
Just limit it and let him be a badass. Let him be the
Let's
goddamn
get to our
devil.
feedback. I agree with you. Feedback, yeah. God, my brain went dead for a second there.
Sorry, I distracted you.
Yeah, I guess so. Matthew Salvatore on Twitter asks, must there be a Superman?
Yes.
Yes, and evidently Warner Brothers agrees.
Without qualification. Yes.
I actually looked for a GIF to respond to him with on this tweet because I just wanted like I couldn't find one. I wanted a GIF of like all the different Superman through the ages and say, yes, many.
All of them. I want all of them. For me, it's just a character building thing. Like there has to be somebody. Like my favorite part of Superman is how overpowered he is and how much that doesn't matter when it comes down to like a character situation. Like he could be terrible and he chooses not to be. He chooses to like stand for us instead. Oh fuck. Yes, I need that in my life.
Yep. David Wang over on Twitter says he's basically reminding us of a thing we talked about on the I think it was our Flash review, our last episode. Anyway, we were wondering if there were bathrooms in those incarceration units.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And he's reminding us. He says, I think that in one of the crossovers, Elseworlds, when Ollie and Barry were locked in the 3x3 pipeline cells, actually the two of them were in one cell, Ollie asks about toilets. Barry presses a button and it came out. Ollie proceeds to teach Barry how to water short out the cuffs. Ollie even made the point.
I forgot about that until you said it, but yeah, that's real.
Ollie even made the point, quote, I hope your secret incarceration prisons have toilets because I've been jailed in many ugly places and they still all at least gave me a bucket in my cell.
I also love the idea that like of all the super powered people they put in those incarceration cells, Oliver of all people like sees the toilet and goes, well, I'm getting out of here immediately.
Yeah.
Well, that'll do.
Yep. That's Ollie for you, man.
Yeah.
I miss Ollie.
He was a clever folk.
Salt of the earth.
Yeah.
We have an email
run through the hell that they CW could show us and came out that way. Anyway.
Nick Livesey in our email says, despite being an avid listener of the Stranded Panda, as they are now, podcast, I never got around to DC on Screen. I am now catching up. I'm sure you have a lot of people doing the same, and I reckon it will be at least 6 months until I am up to date. Got to say, I am loving it, guys, and it's so interesting to listen to you talk about stuff that I have already seen. Your predictions are so often prophetic. What can we expect from Season 2 of Flash? Where is Arrow going, etc.? A lot of the time, with hindsight, you get it right. I'm currently at the point where you are excited about BVS coming out. Can't wait to hear your response. Oh, fuck. Supergirl is about to start, and you've just made what can only be a losing bet with a listener about Jay Garrick being Zoom. Sort of. I'm paraphrasing and simplifying, but I feel like you lost the bet.
Yeah, a little bit.
There, maybe a little bit in a way, yeah. There is something utterly delightful about listening to these with future knowledge, and the fatalistic knowledge that is just not going to turn out that well. I'm not sure what he's talking about there. You talking about DCEU? No. You talking about CW?
Well, on the upside, above. Like if you just cherry picked and grabbed, like, well, I like that episode, or I like this arc, or whatever, and grabbed anything we've done. Yeah, like we've done a lot of reviews, and a lot of them were like episode by episode reviews. So if you just grabbed us anywhere on the timeline, oh man, I don't know what our accuracy rate was, but
yeah, no idea.
Fluctuating at best.
He says, on the upside, Legends turned out to be a lot of fun once it stopped taking itself seriously. The Prison Break episode of Arrow was brilliant, and I loved Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. The less said about Batwoman, the better, though. The end of episode narration letters to Bruce and the radio news updates killed it before it had a chance. They didn't kill it. It's still going. Hell, getting rid of Ruby Rose isn't going to change the show being out there.
I'm wondering how they're going to handle it, but still.
Man, they're doing like they did stop doing the letters to Bruce pretty quickly though. I felt like they got rid of that.
Yeah,
that was like the Felicity talking to her, what was it, her pen pal or whatever it was, like in that show.
I give them this though, they dug into her story, which was what you should do to run that fucking show. Like if you're gonna do Batwoman post Bruce Wayne, you just do Batwoman.
Yeah. Now, I will agree. The Rachel Maddow as Vesper Fairchild thing. I hate those news updates. I hate them. I hate them so much. It's just like, yeah, let me say a shitty and snarky thing, and that's supposed to pass for humor. Like, no, get rid of that shit, dude. Get rid of it. I hate it. Yeah. Anyway, he continues, will you agree with me on these thoughts? I'll find out in a few months. Like, seriously, you're not going to listen to the new episodes? You're just going to, okay, that's fine. Cool. If you feel the need to try and pronounce my name, just stick with Nick. But the surname is Livesey. Sorry, Livesey, pronounced live as in I live in a house, and C. Mm-hmm. I might be 5 years behind, but I doubt you've gotten better at names.
You're not wrong, but to your point, and talking to the current timeline, and I'm glad you're finally going to catch up to us right now. Mm-hmm. The USA is no more. It's Canada's Mexico. Okay. We are now ruled by an alien entity that showed up in late June, mm-hmm. named
Praise be to
Praise be to we have no other choice. The 3 houses I've been moving into have been morphed into one home, mm-hmm.
in
which my in-laws are now in the same atomic space, and we're not happy about that. None of us.
By the way, I do want to point out that, you're not some rich prick. You don't just have 3 houses laying around.
No, I'm repairing 3 homes so that people can move to them. Yeah, no. This is costing me money, to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
His name's be blessed. Our currency is at this point wood chips because all the trees have died.
Mm-hmm. By kindly claw.
Frankly, the agrarian culture has really won out here because they were nearest the trees when everything else died, and it kind of flipped on us.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Snyder cut still has not made it out, but they did release the news that the Ayer cut is pending, so that's good.
Mm-hmm. Praise be to
yeah. The dumbest fucking thing we've ever done.
I don't know about that, but
I'll stand by it.
Yeah, all right.
Or I'll
Giuseppe
sway slightly to the side of it.
Giuseppe Vicaretti says, been binging the Arrowverse for the last month. Some kind of phase I'm in. That was my favorite part of it all. Some kind of phase I'm in. Yeah.
I partly resent it because we spend so much time watching the CW. And it's hard to watch it because all the commercials. Like some part of me is like, "Oh, you're in a phase where you get to watch this on Netflix." I've watched the trailer to what's the Virgin show? Oh God!
Oh, Jane the Virgin.
Jane the Virgin. You'd think I would know it, but apparently my brain was doing a really good job of just trying to move the other way. I have watched trailers to that show so many times. I've watched hours of the same footage just trying to watch a CW show.
Yeah.
Some part of me is like, oh, you're just moving through this?
Giuseppe, that is I really like how you just kind of, you need that qualifier in there. Some kind of phase I'm in. I don't know how to explain it. Just some kind of Arrowverse bullshit phase. I don't know.
Yeah.
He says, but
another part
you
of me
guys
completely gets it. I get it.
He says, but you guys have helped me get through quarantine with your review episodes. Thank you so much for your show. I will always listen. Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
You're so welcome. I'm sorry when they dry up a little bit.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, doing this show is about the only thing that's gotten me through fucking quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually getting to sit down, record, talk about everything, and interacting with the people who actually talk to us is just invaluable to me at this point. Thank you so much for anyone who talks to us.
I've been drawing and painting Star Trek models. Your interaction means little to me. I'm just kidding.
I'm currently sitting in a house where, like, if I look to my left or right, I can pinpoint 5 to 17 things I'm supposed to be fixing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I love keeping my hands busy, but this actually brings me joy. Talking to people and talking about this shit. This is, dude. I need this shit. This is the serotonin I need.
This is some of the most feedback we've ever gotten. We got so much good feedback from last week. or not last week. I guess it was really technically last week, not the Flash up. We did get a lot of feedback for the Flash episode, and we'll talk about it in a second. But
We did.
just lately we've been like, I didn't even include it all. Just good conversations happening now. Like I bitched a couple weeks ago, just kind of half-heartedly bitched, not like a true bitch. Like we have no problems in real life, but just going like nobody's on our Facebook group. We've got Facebook group people now. People are talking on Facebook. So yeah, I'm
Cool. Keep
Twitter
it coming.
and Facebook
Keep talking to us.
Are hopping a little bit, so I'm really excited for that.
Personally, I need it. It gets me through the day. I genuinely appreciate anybody talking to us about this bullshit.
Our buddy Brentak Prime from Fans Without Borders and Marvel Squadcast, he put this up. I had to share it with you guys in case you're not on our Twitter. He says, listening to DC On Screen review The Flash, and just wanted to yell at my phone to disagree and refute all of their complaints. Problem is I can't. They're right. Let's hope next season is better.
I saw, and it did make me laugh. I mean, me too.
Yeah. And then Travis came in and said in full agreement with everything they said about The Flash and what they said about vaping.
We're not fans, to be short.
Yeah. Stu Little, also talking about The Flash, says, I don't like depowering either, but there's not a lot of ways to justify less power usage because they need to save money, especially after Crisis probably sucked up a lot of the budget. At least it's not like...
That's fair.
At least it's not like Nate just forgetting he can steal up on Legends.
And there you go. That's a good call.
Would like less Barry fucked up and everybody is mad at him, even when he had no better choices than what he did going forward, though. Yeah, man. I agree with that.
Yeah, it happens. One of my least favorite parts of that season is the supposed turn. Now, I'll give him this, though. It was only supposedly a turn for like 15 minutes in Showtime. Mm-hmm. Because everybody except Iris decides to send Joe off. And then Iris blames Barry for that because he's always making unilateral decisions that blah, blah, blah. And also, it's just an unfair take on the series. Like, that wasn't a reasonable take, but it was like they undermined it a little bit by having Barry just like immediately draw conspiracy boards with yarn and shit. Mm-hmm. And also they gave even that Mirror character a pretty good arc where like our Mirror Iris is she's acting the way she's supposed to act, but even then there's like I've appreciated this about the show in general. Like Candace Patton's gotten more and more agency and more recognition for actually being really good at her job, and even the Mirror version of her got a good story arc, and I kind of appreciate that.
I want the board. I wanted to see the close up of the board where it's like a picture of Iris with angry eyebrows drawn on, and then like a red thread to good breakfast.
Yeah. Edible breakfast. BS right behind it.
Underneath Iris is written meanie head. Not exactly a conspiracy, buddy. It's just knowing your wife.
Yeah. Like, there's a way they could have taken the show for sure that would have been weird. Where, Yeah,
because we didn't see that.
Yeah. Well, it's where they took the show in certain ways, but they could have gone full-fledged in another way. Like, she doesn't like me anymore, therefore it must not be her. Mm-hmm. That would have been a direction that I wouldn't have been entirely comfortable with. This was a little bit different. At least they gave it some, I don't know, there was some like identifiable characteristics.
Yeah.
Where Barry deciding, well, that's not her. It lacked the misogyny that it could have had.
Mm-hmm. He's just like, she had too much agency. Clearly not my Iris.
Yeah, it could have been that.
Well, based on the other 4 seasons, 5 seasons, whatever it was.
No, I'll give him that. The thing that tied the whole thing together was the idea that like those two have always been on the same page. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that part worked for me. Yeah, it could have been shitty. They could have done that shitty. I think they did it not shitty, but I'm open to
they did it a
interpretation.
little better than Anyway, J. Scotty St. Clair on Twitter says, first answer for yourself and then for your co-host. Which spectrum of the Lantern Corps do you most and least heavily align with and why?
What you got?
Me, I think my hopeful self says the blue lanterns because hope. My realistic self says red because rage.
Yeah.
Those are my most. My least would probably be willpower. And my gut tells me that you're the same way.
Pretty close. Yeah, I would go with hope because that's what I would hope I could be. Like for sure. Also, our favorite color is blue, and you and I both have like a strange affection for the color.
Just the fact that we hope that we would be the hopeful, and then we actually would also hope that we would get the blue ring.
Yeah.
I think we would get the blue. I think that's it.
Hopefully. Well, and the other part is I just don't think I'm a strong enough personality to qualify for the rest of this. I don't think I can strike fear into people. I don't think I can inspire avarice. You know, I don't think I can do a lot of the things that the other colors require. I think the thing I am least is probably the black ring because I'm not dead.
Yeah. I did deeply consider avarice because I want all the toys. I want all the action figures. I want all the money. I would love all that stuff.
Well, avarice and greed are they're like lustful circumstances. I get that. It's hard. Like, it's actually, I think it's a fun question to ask. Like, I think there's a version of therapy where you could, for certain people who understand the context, just ask them like, "Hey, what do you think about the rings? Like, describe how you see these different ring styles."
But you know what kept me out of avarice was I was like, you know what? So often I fight myself on doing what I know is not even morally bad in advertising or getting interest in our show. So that we can, actually make more money. Like, just because I'm like, that feels gross. So I feel like if I were truly like avarice, like I would just be like, no, screw it. We're doing all the things to get to the top. I gotta get my toys.
I get that. And, and one part of me wants to say like, yeah, it'd be hope because I do love blue and I do love hope. But the other part of me is like, I haven't had faith in things. I don't actually have faith. I'm not a person of faith. So like I didn't have faith in Snyder Cut. I don't know what's going to happen with the rest of this. I'm not necessarily a person that has hope. Compassion may be closer to what I actually am in that way. Because I do want to, like, empathy is a thing I lean into pretty heavily. So maybe that's closer to where I belong, I guess. Still, like, realistically, the thing I would lean against the hardest is, again, this is actually a fun conversation to have, like, therapeutically. It may be fear. It may really be fear. Because anytime I find myself as, like a human in the world who gets, like, even when rage comes up, I tend to immediately check myself. And, like, if I get so mad that I actually make someone rethink themselves, I immediately want to pull back and be like, oh, that's not what I was going for.
Right.
So maybe fear that is the least. I don't know.
See, I considered fear foremost for me.
Yeah, but I don't think you're somebody who, like, inspires fear in others.
I think I do. Like, people are always telling me how, like, big and intimidating I am. Like,
well, you're a large person. It's actually, like, have you seen Zachary Levi showed up on it for season and a little cameo on the third. The Marvelous Miss Maisel. Okay, so the Marvelous Miss Maisel. Maisel, sorry. People are yelling at me right now. They're shouting at whatever device they're listening to. Sorry.
No.
There's this moment in a speech that I think you would really enjoy. He actually goes on this rant about, like, he stands up and starts walking around the space. You know, he uses the entire space of what they're filming to kind of make the point that he's just very tall. Like, Zachary Levi is like 6'5". He's a tall person, and he kind of makes it a point to say, and he's always been kind of a gentle character, and he kind of says, like, that's one of the problems with people like me. Like, it's like if I stand up and wave my arms and blah blah blah, then it's seen as hostile. Whereas, somebody a foot smaller would just be like having a moment. But for me, it's I'm endangering other people. Mm-hmm. It's it's one of those moments where I was like, yeah, tall is kind of a problem too in its way.
Oh yeah. Travis Hines says, after listening to your Flash review for season 6, I had a question. Are seasons 4, 5, and 6 the weakest seasons in the series? Yes.
Sorry. I'm really sorry. I love this show deeply. But yes, they are.
I feel like the show has been on a downward trend since the end of season 2. I absolutely adored season 2.
Well, season 2 was Season 2 was one of the best
Man in the Iron
seasons
Mask?
that I think, especially with all
Zoom,
that. Season
all
2
that,
was
yeah.
one of the best things that the CW's ever produced. Just
Earth 2,
barring nothing.
All that, yeah. Season 3.
All 75 seasons of Supernatural included, whatever. I don't care. But yeah, and in a way, I appreciate what they were going for. Like, season 1, 2, 3 was like an escalation of the speedster concept, right? Mm-hmm. Season 4, Thinker. Well, that made sense to me because I don't care how fast you are. If I can outthink you, go fuck yourself.
Right.
Season 5.
And I liked him as a villain, by the way.
He actually,
I liked him more than Savitar.
Yeah. I feel like when we say that 1, 2, 3 is better than 4, 5, 6, we're not giving credit to the entire thing. But we're not talking about a swathe of the entire, there were high points of everything involved and low points of the first few. Like, we hated the pilot to The Flash, for God's sake.
But I did recently rewatch. I recently rewatched it, and I was like, oh, "What was I on about? This is fantastic. What are you talking about?"
I haven't watched it in a while, but I've been curious. So in season 4, Thinker, speed of thought faster than an actual speedster. Great, good concept. Season 5, Cicada,
we had a thinker, then we had a stinker.
Well, you and I pointed this out several times. It wasn't when he was with his daughter and all that. Like, the actual acting of, I forget his name, dude from movies in the early 2000s whose name I forgot. I'm sorry.
American Pie, Klein something, I think. I don't know. I really don't remember.
I don't either. Sorry, it's just been too long. But
I'm not sorry.
Concept-wise, fine. Like, concept-wise, what if there was just like a denaturalization effect, like something that just depowered you immediately? Okay, cool. Acting-wise, like when he was in character as Cicada, awful. It was hard to get through those points. When he was in character as the father of that daughter, he was great. He was fantastic. I loved him.
He's not a bad actor. He's not a bad actor.
He's really not.
Know. That was a choice. That was a director choice. That they I don't know why they wanted him to do all that. It was awful though. I don't
either. I really don't.
And
it's
then,
like they said, why don't you do
girl,
Vader, but wrong?
Yeah, do Christian Bale's Batman with,
with ventilators.
Right. And then it was and then his daughter was even worse. Like, when she grew up and became Cicada, it was just like, oh my, what am I doing? What am I watching? This is terrible. Yeah, I was not.
It was a really cool concept. I didn't love the execution of a lot of it. Now, Nora, different story. I really loved her and her storyline.
I liked Nora.
That was different.
Nora was a good story.
There was a lot. There was a lot that was offered. These aren't bad seasons to me. It's just, if you ask me which one's better and rank them, 1, 2, 3 are better than 4, 5, 6. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
one of the disappointments for me is Mirror Master is my favorite Flash villain, and they could have used that as like a horror concept, because the only thing possibly faster than a speedster is possibly the speed of light itself, and a reflection is, to me, a reflection of the speed of light itself. Mm-hmm. To me, that is one of the most capable ways to take down a speedster, is if you have someone who's actually in charge of fucking mirrors. This could have been the worst thing he ever ran into, and instead and I loved a lot of the character development with Iris and all that, and I genuinely teared up at certain points, like when they were having that conversation where they were just like, I know you're out there, and I'm gonna find you and all that. Like, that was great. There were moments for sure, but oh man, I was so mad I was a little disappointed to see the mirror concept not get its full breadth.
Yep. And maybe it will still, though, because, I mean, we're clearly getting our next year.
Yeah.
As well.
Hopefully it will. I really do hope for it.
And I like the concept of leaving villains not dead so they can kind of return and do some stuff from here.
Even blood work?
From time to time. No, not blood work. I want him gone.
Sorry.
Blood work can just go right the hell away.
I know.
But
I love the actor.
I'll take Thawne.
Yeah. I'll take Thawne all day. I really do love the actor. I forget his name, but I've seen him misused a few times, and I've never thought it was his fault.
What actor?
Bloodwork, Suresh.
Oh, I've seen him be nothing but misused. He's not a bad actor, but yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
you know what I'm saying, though. Like, somebody that just, you know what I mean.
Yep. Chris Baga of World's Finest True Believers asks us, do you think the DCCW should strongly look at lower episode counts? I know Mark Pedowitz said in 2021, some will have 20 to 22 episodes and others will have 13. However, the shows that have thrived with a lower count, example being Black Lightning, have stronger stories with less filler in my opinion. Absolutely. I've been saying this shit since the beginning of our show.
Yeah, they should be 13 to 14 episodes.
Yeah, now the problem is they're going to have less ad revenue, so they might not necessarily be able to up their budget, but
yes and no. But I would happily double down on having, I would take twice the shows, which you and I hate to sound ungrateful, but you and I constantly bitch about how it's hard to keep up with these shows because there's so many and they're so long. It's just it's a time constraint thing. If you gave me twice the shows with half the episode count, I would be very grateful.
Or the same amount of shows with half the episode count.
Or that too. But yeah, like you could, honestly, I think a lot of these shows would be better served in 13 episodes. A lot of them. Not all of them, and not, all right, just retroactively. A lot of seasons have been fantastic, but there's no reason that season couldn't have happened over 2 seasons.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't want 13 episodes. I want 4 to 6.
Oh no!
Give me a
10 to 13.
Give me a mini series season. Give me a mini series season of each thing. Do it up, make it good, get out, and then maybe you can do like a Defenders sort of thing and be like, oh, here's a Super Friends or whatever the hell you got.
Yeah, that didn't work out though.
No,
I think 10 to 13 is a lot. To me, that's the sweet spot. 13 really is the sweet spot. I just too short on the CW. I don't think they can hit enough notes quickly enough, and then too long.
Well, CW needs to move on with that.
I get it, but they're in a certain broadcast environment. They can't do anything about how the show comes out.
Oh, they can. Yeah. All of this is evolving. CW will have to evolve with it.
The evolving part, for sure. But
we're looking at a reality with the DC universe, with HBO Max. We're looking at a reality where this is a binge society at this point. We don't need 25% of a freaking episode to be expository. Like, we remember what happened last week and the week before that and the week before that, Iris. We remember how all the things that you and Iris went through, Barry. We don't need you to tell Iris all the things that you guys went through. She remembers too.
Yeah.
Like, it's that kind of frustration. Like, we don't need those episodes. We don't.
I get it, but I don't think that has anything to do with the times. Like
4 to 6 episodes.
Look, viewers like us pay attention. Honestly, anybody who's listening to this pays attention, knows when they're hitting certain beats, and I would be astounded if anyone who listens to us is not aware of the term filler episode and isn't a little bit resentful of it.
Yeah,
I get it. I completely get it. Every
we can
now
meet
and
in
then
the middle.
It's just
10 episodes. Do like a Doom Patrol.
10 to 12.
No 13 or
I still call
16.
it 10 to 12. I mean, they've still got to fill up like a programming schedule. Like they've got to have a schedule, man.
I know. Why don't they make another 3 or 4 shitty vampire shows? How about
Because
3 more
people
Riverdale
like me,
spinoffs?
who are huge fans of vampire fiction, won't give a fuck because they don't have enough time to watch them. And then the moments I see that kind of stuff, I see their take on it and think, oh, I don't care.
Let's have a thriller about Jughead Jones's left testicle.
Sure. I do feel bad in a way, especially when I talk about vampire stuff, because I'm like, yeah, I'm an Anne Rice dude. All this, everything came behind it, I don't care.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer came behind it.
Yeah.
And I'm a Buffy guy.
I can get my
Everything that came
that
after
was more
Buffy.
about the Slayers, not the vampires themselves.
That's right. And for the vampires themselves, I'm an angel guy.
And a spike guy.
And a spike guy.
I know goddamn well you're a spike guy.
Yep. I have a house full of action figures. The only Buffy the Vampire Slayer action figure I have is a Spike.
Oh, fuck yes. I've seen that little guy.
He holds an axe.
I was happy about it. He had one of the greatest. Him, Angel, and Wesley had some of the greatest character arcs in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. And let me tell you this.
Fantastic.
I could not find a...
I wanted Cordelia. I forgot about Cordelia. Oh, goddamn.
Cordelia?
Yeah. I don't think I said the word correctly, but yes, also an amazing character arc. Willow, Jesus Christ. Everything that happened in that series.
Anya.
The more
Xander,
I think about it.
Yeah. It's all great.
Xander,
Look,
Jesus.
I couldn't find... I wanted a Spike that had the red button-up shirt over the black T-shirt.
Yeah.
Couldn't find one.
Sure.
Unless he didn't come with the black coat. But he's got to have the black coat. So I bought the school hard version of Spike. He comes with a little axe from his first appearance. Mm-hmm. He comes with that. He has the red shirt over the black shirt. And then I stole the black trench coat from my Marvel Legends Blade figure. Sorry, Wesley Snipes.
Nice.
You don't get a coat anymore.
Yeah.
It goes to Spike.
In all fairness, this should be, settle it in a battle. Come for him. If you want your coat back, come get it.
Oh, the Daywalker doesn't stand a chance against Spike.
Dude killed 2 Slayers.
2 Slayers.
That's unprecedented. And for a spindly little dude like
Woo
him.
the third.
Yeah. Oh, and Woo the third, you're right. Actually, that's actually the most impressive part. Killed 2 Slayers and then defended the third.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, moving on. Eli Hernandez asks, can the monorail outrun the Flash? And can Superman outrun the Flash? Well, as for the monorail, I say all we have to do is look at neighboring towns North Haverbrook and Springfield. It is well known that Lyle Landley embezzled his monorail construction funds and employs workers who do a half-assed job and use shoddy building materials to build a wildly unsafe monorail that can only be described as a death trap. Now...
So the way that song portends, no, nothing could outrun the monorail. The way the reality actually went, Homer could outrun the monorail.
Well, he did yank the giant M off of the monorail and use it as an anchor.
I don't think there's any question there.
As for Superman, by the way, that monorail episode of The Simpsons was written by Conan O'Brien, and that just gave me so much joy.
Delightful. Thank you for making me remember that. Mm-hmm. That was a good moment. It was a good.
Lyle Landley was Phil
episode.
Hartman.
Yeah. A lost goddamn treasure, that one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm going to Disney Plus and watching that one probably after the show.
I don't blame
you. Let's see. As for the Superman and the Flash, look, here's the thing. The Flash Rebirth number 3, 2009, by Jeff Johns. Mm-hmm. Superman catches up to Barry, who is running. Mm-hmm. Superman's trying to stop him from making a sacrifice play. Flash says, "You can't stop me."
I know exactly the scene you're going for, and I could not be more on your side. Go for it.
Superman says, "I've raced you before, Barry. I even won some of those races." Flash says, "Those were for charity, Clark." And then, boom, leaves Clark in the dust, runs into another plane of existence. No contest. Superman has no chance in outrunning the Flash.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a series of Superman and Flashes, I think, to undo a crisis point. Like, there's no version, I think, of Superman that's actually faster than the Flash at his best.
Maybe maybe a Silver Age or Golden Age Superman who could juggle planets, but there was a point where DC's stance on the matter seemed to be no one's better than Superman.
Well, yeah. All right.
Superman's the greatest thing ever. Superman.
I'll give you the when it was so overpowered. Yeah, for sure. But
the longer he stays on the Earth, the more the sun, affects him, and he can just becomes a god. Or let's depower.
Yeah, but then
please.
Even that gets into great storylines like All-Star Superman.
Oh, that's such a great story.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
All right, let's move to Michael.
Bottom
Kennedy.
line, I think most versions of 50 plus years of storytelling, given the 80 plus years of storytelling, over the 50 plus, Flash can beat him, and I'm good with that. Flash on ground is faster. Superman can fly. Yeah, there are things that he can do that Flash can't, and they're terrestrially. Yeah, I think Flash can beat him in a foot race.
I think he's probably faster than Clark can fly too. Especially when you consider that comic, that Flash Rebirth number 3.
Yeah,
Superman was flying.
Oh, I think they did that in Deceased recently, though, where there was a spoilers on Deceased if you haven't read it, but in Deceased, one of the problems was Flash was infected with the anti-life zombie virus in this version, and there was a question who could possibly stop him because he was infecting people at a rate that no one. I mean, once you get a Flash infecting people, it's a whole new level of problem. And one of the problems was how do I catch him? And even Superman said I can't catch up to him. So he literally ran the other side of the world. If he was going in one side of the equator, Superman ran the other. And even beating him, the speed with which they hit, I think it was part of Flash's rib dislodged in Superman's abdomen because the speed was just so fucking fast that it actually penetrated Superman's skin. And that's how he got zombied and everything died.
Yeah.
That was a fun comic. Well, it still is a fun comic. Tom Taylor's...
That guy gets a lot of praise.
He should. He's doing great things.
All right, let's over on our Facebook group, Michael Kennedy says, so with Swamp Thing Season 1 finding a new home at CW, seems that it could be possible to have a Season 2. I know it probably relies on it being buzzworthy and people talking about it for it to get another season. Question is, does CW have the money to make another season? If I recall correctly, that was a question when Supergirl moved to the CW. Also, there seemed to be a lot of buzz about the North Carolina grants that may or may not have been a problem for the series. What are your thoughts? If they haven't destroyed props and sets and stuff, they might be able to save money on that side of it, but it would probably be hard.
That's not the biggest cost factor, though.
Yeah, it'd probably be hard getting everyone back at this point.
Actors are going to be the hard point.
I didn't think the effects and props looked so over the top fantastic anyway. It looked pretty great.
I always had a problem with how clear the fucking water was.
But it looked pretty great for what it was. It wasn't anything I haven't seen Supernatural do while walking around, walking through waywardly. I don't watch Supernatural, but I have loved ones who for some reason do.
I genuinely don't have a problem with the series. I've just never gotten into it, and I'm okay with that.
The dialogue. I just can't do it. Even with Mark Shepard.
I get it, but
it's one of those. It's like grim. I just.
Oh, I know, but I watched that for years because it was a fascinating backstory, and even I gave up at some point. I didn't have time, and what you said.
Now, Zach Champion responded to him and said it would be tremendous if CW, should they have the money, put the second season exclusively on their streaming service so they can keep the horror aspect and have Constantine make appearances. Hell yes, but I don't see it happening as long as CW streaming service is free.
Also, yes.
If they were to do that, it would probably have to go to HBO Max.
I don't know if there's a way to mount that series. I think we said this earlier also. It had some serious promise. There is... that wasn't a complete loss. It didn't have the follow through that it needed, and there were a lot of on-site problems. Execution wise was the problem. So point being, if somebody actually got to all the actors, was able to, and then they were able to actually redo it.
Feel free to recast the bad guy because I can't take that dude again.
The sheriff dude.
Turtle
or the mayor dude.
soup.
Yeah,
Oh, the turtle
guy.
soup.
Yeah, no, he was never. Yeah,
But absolutely
someone
bring
did
Crystal
not-
Reed back.
I'll give him this though. Like his accent was terrible, but I watched several seasons of True Blood.
Yes, you
And
did.
you know, I've never finished the last season because the last season, like halfway through, I was like, I'm not even doing this. But I'll give them this. Like first season of True Blood, the accents were terrible. Second season, it was markedly better. Like markedly better. They had clearly gone through some coaching. Something had happened. At the very least, they watched their own episodes, each actor, and watched their own episodes and thought, well, I can do that better. I don't know how the hell it happened, but I know between season 1 and season 2 it was better. And it always left a little bit to be desired because at the very least Stephen Meyer is like Stephen Moyer or Stephen Meyer, I can't remember, is a British dude, and he was just doing a southern accent, but he even got better. Anyway, so there's the possibility that guy would not have annoyed us as much if the season had been good and in season 2 his accent was something that we weren't just pissed about. But
Well,
I don't
to
know.
me,
I mean,
even before we had any inkling that, I mean, we knew that it was canceled right away before they even dropped it.
Well,
I think
no, it was like
announced
week
on the day
one.
that it dropped.
it was literally like the season premiered and then they were like, well, we're done here. I think within 48 hours.
Yeah,
But I think it premiered first. Like it was definitely before episode 2.
I think so many people were like bemoaning it as like this like lost treasure, and like from the get go, I was just like, this is a boring show. I don't like Swamp Thing. I want to. I was excited. It was the show I was most excited about. Like you can go back and listen to our episodes talking about leading up to it. I was just so down. This was the thing.
I was
this
amped
was
too.
what
I get
wanted.
it. And there was a lot. All right, even what we were given, there was a lot there that was really good. But yeah, it
A
didn't.
lot, but some things
didn't
were
follow.
really good. Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, Swamp Thing in Swamp Thing form was the best version of Swamp Thing I've ever seen on a screen, barring nothing.
Agreed.
Like the horror aspect of seeing that character actually like come to life was that was fantastic.
I feel like Wobbly Boots 85 is somewhere listening to us say that was the best on-screen version of Swamp Thing, and he's like cradling a bootleg version of the 90s cartoon and going, heresy.
That cartoon was good too. I was there for that.
He's just rocking back and forth. Swamp Thing, you make my heart sing.
I get it. I mistakenly read Toxic Avengers at some point because I thought that was connected because I was 4 or whatever
Right.
it was. I get it.
Toxic Crusaders.
Crusaders. Yeah, maybe it was that. I don't remember.
Well,
God, it's been-
the Toxic Crusaders were like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles knockoff, but also spin-off of the trauma movie Toxic
Okay.
Avenger.
All right. So let's go back here. Which one of them had a mop?
That was Toxic Avenger and Toxic Crusaders. Toxie was the main character in both.
Okay, then I think I watched both of them.
But Toxic Avenger, you could not show your kids. Like, it was like R-rated schlock.
Oh, I stayed up late. I stayed up very late and watched some channels that I wasn't supposed to have access to. Mostly
that's
at
good.
my grandparents' house because they didn't keep track of that shit, and my parents did. So I think I saw that, but I'd have to go back and watch it now. I'm kind of curious, actually.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm gonna hate it. Like I have to wait until I'm done with Bond though, because the last few Bond movies have been rough.
Oh yeah, that's a slog for a while. I say for a while. It's mostly a slog. Well, late 60s, it starts getting a lot better, and then 80s it drops, and then 90s you get like a Pierce Brosnan era that's actually pretty good.
I don't know.
That's my memory from
we're
high
going back
school
and
when I
forth.
went on like I went on a crusade where I went to every video store, by the way, to date myself. I went to every video store in a couple of counties to try to find new Bond movies, and that's my memory of these things.
Oh yeah. I remember carting my little sister around, just going to every video store we could find, just to, by God, see if they had Rocky and Rambo movies.
Yeah. I went to that and every Monty Python film I could put my hands on.
That's fair too. All right. Andre Sparks
Sure.
says maybe Swamp Thing will be an animated series like they did with Constantine and Vixen. If the quality was less Vixen and more City of Demons, I could get behind it, but I think I would just rather have Swamp Thing and Constantine and Justice League Dark.
Yep. I'll take all of them even.
Honest.
Let's just do that.
Zach Champion on Facebook group says, you guys are fans of Firestorm, and usually with him there's Ronnie Raymond and Professor Stein, but what if, for an animated or live action movie, Ronnie was the science whiz and he bonds with Stein's wife, who is a bit of a perv? Which I deemed Cougar Storm. And absolutely, I'll watch that.
I would absolutely watch that. Yeah, sure. Go, man. Go. Make it happen. You got my money.
Yeah, and then at some point, Ronnie Raymond dies, and she, merges with, a version of Jason Rush, who's, for purposes of the show, now called Jason Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how
I
that
feel
works.
it's one of those things where, like, all right, to put it this way, having my first name, I always feel like I'm second take and rarely accepted. Like Jason Rush, Jason Todd, they literally voted to kill my first name. And Jason Rush didn't do too much better.
Jason was even the second killer in Friday the 13th franchise. Because the first movie was his mom.
Yeah. Well, it was still under his name, but
No, there was no name. There was just the killer, and it was because assholes like
you're
those
right,
kids.
No,
assholes
you're
like those
right,
kids
yeah.
let
In
her
the first
son
one, it was
Jason
just
die.
Friday the 13th, and then it was because Jason had been tossed into the lake and all that shit. Yeah, I have not grown up with a very positive version of my name.
That's right.
Oh well.
Anyway. Jim Rady says, this was also on Facebook, I asked the MCU boys this a few weeks ago, MCU cast, Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, DC Battle of the Bands, give your best 4-man lineup of DC characters in a pop, punk, metal, and jazz band, or just save it for a week you have nothing to talk about. There are no weeks we have nothing to talk about. And anyway, I don't know music well enough to answer this question. All I've got is that I would love to see a band hear a band really, featuring Pied Piper with Black Canary on vocals. And Music Meister could probably be in there doing something.
I like
because
it.
he could probably do anything that was needed. And it would be fun to watch him try to wrest control from Canary. And I don't know why, but I feel like Damien would be on bass.
I could deal with that. I forgot about Jason Blood also, so I'm gonna put him on the lyricist.
Okay. Well, it would be funny if he wasn't the lyricist at all. Like he couldn't do that.
No, my
But
favorite
they
version
would-
of that would be just he's pitching lyrics the entire time, and they just record while they're like, "Yeah, I mean that sounds great," blah blah blah, yeah, and he's just on the other side of the booth.
I think I have an idea of it just being like the band angry with him and trying to summon Intrigan because Intrigan's the only one that can write the lyrics.
Yep.
He's like, guys, I'm reading a book. We need new songs.
This 4th century teller wrote a book. I finally got my hands on it. I have to interpret it.
Dinah's like, there are only so many Bjork covers I can do. We really need this.
Yeah. We've done an entire we've redone the entire The Benz album from Radiohead. But God help us. We need your new lyrics to help it make it fresh.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if you guys have seen, I'm sure some of you have. I know some of you have. But Jim Rady, I wonder if you have seen the Bat Metal videos, where it's like Batman doing lead vocals, and you've got just like Jason. Every video they add more members of the Bat family, and I love it. I love it. It's just, Jason Todd, Nightwing, Damien, Tim, they're all up there, like Batgirl's up there. They're just like rocking out, doing the what is it? What is the Brendan Small band?
Metalocalypse.
I know the show is Metalocalypse, but what is the band's Deathlock?
Oh, the band? Deathlock. Yeah. Death Clock.
Oh, Death Clock. Okay.
Yeah. Deathlock is the MCU villain.
Deathlock is from Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Death Clock though is the it's a show I really do I love Metalocalypse. God, I want there to be more of that story.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't help that.
I'm not sure Brendan Small can either.
It's on HBO Max though.
Yeah, that's a real thing. Also, strange side point. Have you just take a minute when you can and watch the like Elmo
The
talk
Not So
show
Late
thing?
Show.
Yeah,
The trailer looked funny.
it's delightful.
Is it?
It is delightful AF, man. I watched it last night. It's only about 20 minutes, the entire thing, and the premiere is Jimmy Fallon's his guest, and they're doing a lot of meta jokes about how you run a talk show and shit. It's delightful. I genuinely laughed my ass off a few times, and I don't think I would have ever watched it, but I have an 18-month-old who's been captivated by Elmo for 8 months now, so it was something I was interested in. But seriously, they have nominated the show for an Emmy already.
Jeez.
I'm kind of rooting
That's
for
crazy. Yeah, sure.
it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
I mean, at some
go
point,
Elmo.
I was just sitting there watching that trailer, like, stupid grin on my face, like, what is this? And then he's like, Batman! Like, oh my God, make that Batman.
It was pretty fun.
Anyway, I think we've prattled on for long enough.
Sure.
Thank you guys so much for listening. I remember the $20 for the Apple review. One of you out of 10 will get it.
Yep.
I promise. Actually, the easier this is on me, the more likely it is to actually happen. So I'll just like Venmo you $20. Seriously, for friends on Facebook, I'll just like messenger it to you.
Yeah. On its way.
Rating and review. We'll be back next week or some midweek maybe. I don't even know anymore. I don't know what we're doing. We've got plans, but we're in some weird places.
Yeah. Physically and figuratively.
Yeah, mentally, yeah. We'll be back. Until then, keep some DC on your screen.
Bye.
Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free, including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.